Hi, everyone. Welcome to my session today on leveraging immersive experiences that drive leads. So far, I've been able to sit in on some of these sessions and learning so many great things about the trends we're seeing, especially in sustainability. I'm excited now to talk about AI and what we're seeing in the industry and what we're seeing trends with our clients as well. So welcome everybody. And I encourage you, as you have questions today, please enter them in the Q&A that you have here. We should have plenty of time for the end for questions, and I look forward to answering those. So we're going to kick it off first thing with a poll. So do you plan to implement AI or VR technologies into your event strategy? I'm really curious just to gauge the audience and understand where are you at with some of these trends we're seeing with AI or VR. So just a simple yes or no. Just curious to see what is going on with your event strategy right now. So let's see that result. I might not have given enough time on that one. So the next poll, I'll be sure to add some more time so you all can answer that. Okay, so AI, VR, and events feels like buzzwords, right? We hear it all the time in everyday life. What at the end of the day is AI, VR driving to do for events? Create a meaningful and impactful experience for the audience. And it's also changing how society as a whole interacts with content. It's less searching for what you may be interested in, more tailored content to your audience. I mean, you see it every day. You look on your social media, you're getting those sponsored ads. I'm currently looking for a nice spring dress, and every day I'm seeing these new companies come on with what I'm trying to buy. So you're seeing it every day in your social life. So how does this tie into events? So I did a lot of research before this presentation on just what we're seeing trending in the entire event planning process. We don't have enough time today to go in depth on some of the planning tools, but I will say you're seeing it in this event. So I'm going to preface, I used AI to help with some of my slide creation, helped kind of take some of my ideas, bringing them to kind of formulate on these slides that you see. Our marketing team has used AI to create videos. So we're actively here at 6Connex implementing the power of AI to drive quicker results for some of the content you're seeing here today. What else does this mean? It's meaning that the audience, it's changing how your audience interacts with your content as a whole. They don't want to spend as much time searching for what they're interested in. They want the content that they care about in their fingertips quicker. So today I'm hoping to take a look at the attendee journey, the considerations with you, and how we're seeing AI being leveraged to help you drive your leads through your funnel faster and more efficient. AI can help allow you to deliver personalized recommendations for your attendees. It can help you tailor your marketing strategy for a more personalized approach. Let's be real. Are you more likely to attend an event if the marketing email you receive touches on a specific topic? Of course. You're not searching for that content and it's right there in front of your face. You're definitely more likely to come to that event. AI technology is also creating an expectation for attendees to get information in an instantaneous manner. Attention span continues to be less and less, meaning attendees are less likely to spend the time searching for validation that your event is worth their time. And so you need to be able to make that instant impression and prove the value from the start. So utilizing AI to your advantage is so key here. AI in the planning process is definitely allowing for you to cater to that individual's preference. We'll dive a bit deeper into strategies later on, but all this being said, there's always that fine balance between privacy concerns that your attendees might have. So I definitely continue to, as AI evolves and how we're using it evolves, definitely continue to keep that in mind when we're seeing these being implemented. Okay, and this is going to be an open-ended poll. And this feedback, I'm really looking for the audience, you all to interact here. What is the biggest challenge your organization currently faces when it comes to attendance conversion? So it's something that we continuously are advising and consulting our clients on here at 6Connex. We see it. You all are looking for how do we get attendees to come interact with our event? And so you answering this question actually gives us really powerful data to be able to help continue to put out good case studies and white papers and information to you as our clients and just the industry as a whole on how we can support you and your attendance conversion journey. So we'll take that data and analyze it after this event. So thank you so much. Okay. Now, let's talk about experience, right? So, at the end of the day, what are you looking to do with your events? It's drive an experience. That's really what it comes back to, all being said. You're driving an experience, whether that's in person, whether it's virtual, or something in between. And there's a huge shift in the industry. We've always said content's king. In my opinion, that never goes away. Content will always hold true and be one of the largest value drivers for your event. But the experience is becoming more and more important to your attendees. Virtual, of course, we know it exploded. It continues to be really relevant in events as an option for attendees. And what did it do? It made events more accessible than ever. And that's great. Your reach can expand with the virtual components that you add to your events, but it's becoming increasingly important not just to have the virtual component, but to smartly execute the virtual component so that you're encouraging maximum results for your attendees and your organization as a whole. On site, it's been traditionally easier to create that wow factor at an event. Options are endless when you think about it. You have hands on, interactive networking stations, lounges, game zones. You can immerse attendees in like a really immersive dinner. There's just endless ways when you're in person to be able to drive that immersive experience, that wow factor. So, how do we do that virtually to drive that same attendance and interaction from your attendees? Use technology to your advantage. By leveraging the power of AI and interactive immersive technology, you can do this. And maybe it's not as complex as something like VR. VR feels really intimidating and out of reach to many. I mean, I think through the logistics of how do you get your audience comfortable with something like that. It sounds intimidating to most. So think of things that are more intuitive and interactive. Here at 6Connex, we have a lot of networking options that allow your attendees to have that immersive experience. We also have our open universe, which I'm sure you've heard many times now. And we have many of our partners here today with a booth where they have these features where you can create these kind of immersive, impactful ways for your attendees to interact with your technology. I also think of what you walked in today here at CNX. You walked into an example of how we've leveraged the personalization of the environment itself to make you feel like you walked into a festival right around our Coachella timing. So utilize kind of all of the branding and the graphic opportunities that your technology has to your advantage to make your attendee really feel immersed in the location that makes sense for your audience base. Okay. And then finally, tying this into this AI concept, it's so much more impactful for an attendee to come into an experience that feels tailored to them. So their preferences overall, once you cater to what the content that they're looking for is, that only encourages them to stay longer in your event and view the content that they care about without the feeling of getting frustrated or lost, or you know what, it took me too long to find what I wanted to know. I'm just going to leave. So it's so important to tie that AI into it. That way you're getting that content into the hands of your attendees quicker and helping drive through your marketing funnel at a quicker pace as well. Okay. And I know I saw some familiar names in the attendee list, so I'm sure we've talked before about this, but it's so, so important to leverage your technology partner to support this. And not just the technology, but the expertise behind it. I personally see, and I know the full team here at 6Connex, we see hundreds of events day in and day out. And so we constantly are seeing different use cases and different ways in which our clients are interacting with the technology to drive their goals. So I cannot stress the importance of just looking at your technology as, okay, they have the tech, but the people behind the tech, there's so much expertise there, and use that to your power and your advantage. There's so much that comes into designing an immersive event space. In the last year, we've definitely seen a shift of a more simplistic experience, but to keep your events really fresh, it's so powerful to leverage that power of the immersive branding, the immersive graphics to make your attendees feel your brand from the time they log into your event. And I'm going to do a quick plug, and I'll plug it again at the end. But after this session, Bamboo HR will be sharing how they've actually done this how they've actually done this to, how they've done this to drive their goals as an organization. And then again, we also have our award ceremony here at the end. And so that's some of the best that we've seen here at 6Connex throughout the past year, and a great showing of how we've seen clients utilize the technology. And it's not just about the looks. So of course we have the graphics, we have the branding, but it's so important to plan what's going into your event space itself. And that's the content. So think beyond just static PDFs and websites, and really think through, how can your attendees interact with your content? A really fun use case that I'm seeing trending, more and more clients have taken advantage of this. And so we have our in-platform trivia that you can use here at 6Connex. So you can create in-platform trivia, and then you can tie that into gamification. So think about it, hide something unique to your brand throughout the space, something that's really impactful to the message and the mission that you're trying to get out there to your attendees. And then tie that into a fun trivia item. So they click on that little icon, they get a trivia question, and then for getting that question right, they get points. So then you're gamifying that experience for them and incentivizing them to learn more about your brand or whatever the topic is that you're hoping to drive more knowledge in. And it's a win-win. So you're engaging your attendee in your environment and ensuring they walk away with the knowledge that you're hoping to spread. I also cannot recommend enough looking at the 6Connex Open Universe, understanding what technologies we can pull in to help take your event to the next level. I mentioned there are quite a few partners who are able to join us today in the partner hall. That list is not conducive. So it is so important to discuss your goals with your account team. We can help lead you in the right direction of the different partners and the different things that we've seen day in and day out here at 6Connex. And lastly, once you have the beautiful graphics, the engaging content, and interactive technology, how can you take it to the final step further and make it so attendees are getting the content they care about quicker? We're going to dive into that next. But first, I do have a poll. And I'm just curious. I want to gauge you as the audience. How often do you make your sessions interactive through the use of polling, Q&A? We do have an onstage technology here at 6Connex where you can actually pull audience members up on stage to your session to ask questions live. So I'm curious, is it less than 25% of the time, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75%, or more than 75%? Okay, so we'll give you guys just a moment to take that poll. And I just want to gauge, where are you at? And we're going to dive deeper into this here in a bit. And so let me see. I am going to push the results to you all. So you should see that pop up here momentarily. And this is awesome. So over 75% of you are making over 75% of the time, you all are making your sessions interactive. So that's really great. And I'm happy to hear that. It doesn't always happen, so that's awesome. So let's go into some of the strategies here. Okay, agenda, content. I mentioned it earlier, and I'm sure you've heard me say it if you've spoken with me in another realm. Content is king. I'm a true believer of that. It is so important to get attendees to come to your event. So how do we tie this classic event terminology into creating a more impactful, tailored experience to your users? That's what we're going to dive into here. And there's two trending ways that I'm going to hit on today. I'm curious, definitely put in the questions if you're seeing something, or chat with me after the session. I'd love to know kind of your take on this. And it's definitely, I think we all know, it's moving beyond those jam-packed 8-hour days that were about 2 years ago, seemed to be what everyone was doing. And it's really creating those half-day agendas or those short bite-sized content sessions for attendees. So the two really trending things that I'm seeing, interactive sessions, and the poll results spoke to that. We hear it all the time. Don't just speak at people. In your planning sessions, take that extra time to think through, how are you going to engage your audience? And I've noticed, you've probably noticed, I'm trying to do it here. I'm adding lots of polls in, encouraging questions in the chat. And it is so easy, just to put your slides together, submit it to where it needs to go and move on. But I really cannot stress the importance of coaching your speakers. Think about, how are you going to drive attendees to actually engage with your content in this session? We have many ways here at 6Connex. There's the chat, the Q&A, the polls, tying in a third-party partner. So there's lots of different ways, depending on your goals, that we can help support getting that engagement from your audience. And something fun, just tying back to that gamification concept I mentioned earlier, tie gamification trivia into items that would have only been learned in sessions. So if they attend a session and then they find this pop-up of trivia later, they would have had to attend, be active with your session to be able to answer that question correctly and get those points for gamification. So we're definitely seeing more and more of that, where it's just really tailored content, getting folks to engage with it and feel invested. Then the second really big trending item with our clients, the agenda is obviously a driving factor for so many attendees to show up to your event. We have many customers leveraging our powerful My Agenda tool. You've seen it here. It's in our navigation bar. If you haven't checked it out, definitely encourage you to check out that functionality. What does this do? It allows your attendees to view your event's agenda and then create their own personalized agenda from there. So it's a great way for attendees to feel like they're making the most of their time. They're attending the sessions or the networking that they care about most, keeping track of what's going on. But it doesn't just stop there. So that's one piece of it. But the next step that we're seeing more and more clients take advantage of is understanding certain segments of their audience and what they care about. So you can actually tailor someone's agenda for them before they even step into your virtual environment, step into those doors. As a recent example, we had a client who was hosting a large traditional event, trade show. You had your sessions, you had your sponsors, various different topics, various different tracks. So it was very traditional in that sense. But they had a select group of VIP C-level attendees that they wanted to have a more personalized experience. So what did they do? They took the My Agenda tool and they actually created personalized agendas for those C-level executives coming into their event, so that the C-level, which is obviously one of their main decision makers in the buying process, they had the content that was going to be most relevant to them at their fingertips. And especially when you're dealing with that VIP level of attendees, it is so important to create that experience where they're not searching. The information that they care about and you care about them getting is right at their fingertips. So I thought that use case was really, really impactful, and it really helped deliver the results that that client was looking for, because the people that they cared about most, when they looked at that list of attendees, were able to find the sessions that matter the most to them. Okay, and of course, another poll. So the first one, I was curious, and it might have been a refresh. So we'll get these answers out to you all at the end as maybe an on-demand resource. But have you leveraged AI technologies into your event strategy previously? So our first question was more, are you looking at doing it in the future? And now we're curious, have you done it in the past? So we're seeing this more, it's a buzzword, right? AI, we're seeing it everywhere. So really curious to understand, have you used it before? Is it still too new for you? Where are you at as an organization? So I'm still seeing some answers trickle in, and I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I'm going to push results to attendees, and this is really cool. We're half and half, guys. So half of you have leveraged AI, the other half have not. So some of this information that I'm going to share may be new. Some of it may not. But this is really cool. So, and it's right on trend with what we're seeing, right? It's something newer. It's been around for a while, but we're continuing to see it gain traction here at 6Connex. And really, AI, what can it help do? Create meaningful connections. And we've talked about a lot in these previous slides. How can it help you deliver a more personalized, impactful experience for your attendees? Here at 6Connex, we're so thrilled to be one of the first event technology providers to offer AI technologies, which leverages registration and behavioral data to organizers in two very different ways, but driving the same results at the end of the day. The first is to create meaningful connections. So if your event is really valuing networking, I cannot recommend enough taking advantage of the matchmaking functionality. And that allows for attendees to be matched with attendees based on registration information and how they interact once they get in that environment. And again, you've seen it here, it's on the navigation bar. Definitely take advantage of networking with those with similar interests. This can take two approaches. We've taken a really kind of fun and professional approach where we've asked like genre of music and type of events. So we've kind of mixed and mingled, but depending on the goals of your event at the end of the day, depending on the goals at the end of your day, you can really tailor it to something more business focused or something more fun if it's a more fun, casual, relaxed event. And the networking doesn't end there. So attendees can actually connect directly into LinkedIn, directly from our AI tool. So that way they're carrying those connections outside of just your event. And it doesn't just stop once your event is over, which is so powerful. I think we all know your network is really, really so impactful in this day and age. So creating those connections, building your network, and your event was part of that. That's great. And the second I'm going to mention is our Content Hub functionality. And again, you'll see that here. And this allows you as the organizer to determine specific categories and tags that you can provide for your content. So I'm just going to give an example here, keeping on topic. If I'm only interested in AI technologies, you as the organizer have tagged this content on the back end into that grouping, then me as the attendee. When I open my Content Hub, I'm going to have that content that matters to me at my fingertips faster than ever. And that allows me to be more engaged, and it allows you as the organizer to have engaged attendees that are engaging with the content that matters most to them. And there's nothing more impactful than delivering the right message to your attendees and delivering what they care about to them in a quick manner. And then, of course, once that AI engine kicks in and as your attendees continue to engage, the content that they're getting in their recommendation just keeps getting better and better. So I cannot stress this enough in terms of how can you leverage your attendees becoming more engaged, leverage these AI technologies that we have native to 6Connex to help deliver more tailored either matchmaking connections or content to your attendees. Okay, and then anyone that knows me, so there are some in the audience that do know me, I am a metrics person. And so we're gonna end this session with some things about analytics, something about metrics, and how do we tie this all together at the end of the day. But I'm so curious, what do your post-event deep dives currently look like? So I put one of my favorite things at the top, who has time for post-event deep dives? I hope you do, but I know that that's not always the case. So that's an option. Do you analyze post-event survey responses? So are you sending out a post-event survey to your audience and seeing what the feedback was? Do you analyze feedback from your event? So are you looking at chats, conversations, things that were answered in the sessions? Are you reviewing metrics and data captured by technologies? Or are you having lesson learned meetings with internal, external stakeholders or other? So any other things that you do to close out your events and help deliver continuous improvement on your event strategy. So you can choose any of those options. You can choose multiple, you can choose none, you can choose one, and definitely curious to see what that result looks like. And we'll go back to that just because I want to make sure we have plenty of time for Q&A. So I'll come back to that and touch on some of the results here in a bit. Okay, so now metrics. Event is over. You've created the immersive experience. You've leveraged your technology stack and the expertise. You've leveraged AI to allow attendees to have a more personalized, engaging experience. And they've been engaging with your content quicker and easier. So what's next? And I mentioned it, please, please, please don't forget the post-event. It's so easy to fall into the habit of, okay, we're on to the next. I'm a former event organizer. I've been there so many times in the event cycle, but it is so, so important to analyze that data post-event so that you can continue to create a relevant, impactful experience to your audience. So what are some things to consider? Identify your key metrics. What's important to you, your stakeholders? Is it going to be conversion? Is it sponsorship leads? Is it specific items of content views? Track this each event to understand trends. And these should be something that can be applicable to your full event strategy so that you can use these as benchmarks to understand those trends as time evolves and see how your audience is changing and make it, of course, informed decisions on your strategy. And I've also been there where you have no idea what key metrics to even start with. And so here at 6Connex, we did see a huge trend over the last 1 to 2 years where clients didn't know where to start. So we had all this data at our fingertips and clients just didn't know where to start with it. And so we were really thrilled last year when we launched our attendee engagement framework. We've been doing events for years, and we're strong believers the only way that we as an industry continue to evolve and get better is to knowledge share and build a strong community where we're sharing what's working, what's not working, what are we seeing. So here at 6Connex, we actually analyze every event on our platform to compare it, right? So we're trying to see, what do we see from an industry standpoint? What do we see from similar events that we can pull as a trend across the board? And that was really valuable for us internally because we were able to have really great conversations with clients. And then last year we decided, you know what, we need to take this a step further, and we need to be able to provide our clients with a way to show this to their other stakeholders as well. So that's where our attendee engagement framework came in. And so I just so encourage, if you're struggling with how am I measuring all this? How do I show success? How do I show where I need to improve? Leverage our framework to support those goals for you and give that visualization of how is your event performing against others. And that's key, right? Sometimes you're in your silo of your organization and that's all you have to compare to. So important to see where you're stacking up against others with similar use cases for your event. And so here at 6Connex, we're definitely able to analyze those results with you, help identify what worked, tongue twister, what worked well in your event and what we can improve upon to help you get a deeper understanding of your event and then similar events to yours. And then I'm also just a big believer, every event is a learning experience, the good, the bad, the ugly. You should always learn something at the end of every event. Struggle of in-person events has always been not knowing what your attendees do after checking in. Yes, we've got RFID that supports that gives you some insights, but it's not all the way. So a huge positive to virtual, and where you should really be taking those metrics is all of the data you're getting from these immersive experiences. You're getting data from where they went in the environment, the exact content they viewed. And you can use that to not only in the future deliver better, more tailored experiences for your attendees, but think about that post-event marketing. So I can take an attendee, I can see what content they viewed, I can see what rooms they were in, and I can deliver a really warm email to them after the event that says, hey, I saw you were interested in these 3 pieces of content. Let me connect with you for 30 minutes and let's deep dive on what were your questions. So think about it that way too, not just how do I keep getting better in the future, but how do I use those results that I got in my metrics to have better quality conversations with my attendees post-event. Okay. So we do have a few minutes for questions. I am in the partner hall with other CEM team members, Chance and Peter. So we're here all day to help you all guide you in the right direction, whether it's finding a partner, whether it's just saying hi, whether it's understanding what your goals are for your next event. So definitely encourage you to come chat with us in the partner hall. And we do have a couple questions that I'm going to get to here. Just give me a second. Okay, so we have in the audience, and this is from Kristen. So Kristen asks, what are your personal best practices in creating immersive experiences? And so for me, this always comes back to goals. What are your goals? And that's honestly the driving factor of all of it. So if you understand your goals, whether that's the goals are sponsorship ROI, okay, then let's focus on creating a really strong partner hall for you or solutions hall. How can we creatively display our partners to help them get the best ROI? So it really comes down to your goals. And then from there, kind of determining how do we drive that experience to help meet your goal. I could expand on that further if I had a bit more time. And then I think That's really, I wish we had a bit more time for Q&A, and I do see some more in there. But I want to make sure you all have plenty of time to get to your next session. So I know we're wrapping up here soon. So I'm just going to mention everything I talked about here, mostly everything I talked about here. Now you're going to see how Bamboo HR does it. So we are so excited that Bamboo HR will be sharing how they are using our technology to drive those leads throughout their organization. And so I've got a sneak peek of some of the content. It's going to align really well with some of the concepts here, so we'll be able to see a real life use case. And so thank you all so much for your time. Again, please come visit us in the partner hall. It was so great spending time with you all today, and enjoy the rest of CNX.